here as we head towards the champion selector for RMC. Let's see if the drafts stay as spicy for game number 5 at the very least. I'm sure the game will be fun. Take it away.
Right away, a cannon band coming out from Loud. They recognize that Lonely has been having a good time. He has been one of the big carries for Kabum, and they pick up Lucian for Root immediately. And LeBlanc, I'm actually surprised for we've not seen more LeBlanc today, considering she was one of the original Static Shiv abusers when the change first came through.
Yep, it was LeBlanc Static Shiv. And with how quickly these picks are coming in, just thinking fast.
Yeah.
We have uttered 2 sentences and we've had 5 picks. That is an incredibly high rate, even by CBLOL standards. Xayah for Raven, like we said. And look, there's a champion that can keep itself safe. So, like I was saying, and look, Crastiel he's not used to kind of playing these assassin types, but if you want something that can shove and roam with the Static Shiv, guess what LeBlanc can do? She can shove and roam.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what Tinones wants to run into that as well, because Tinones oftentimes, when his answer to shove and roam is either, hey, I'll pick a roamer myself, something like the Twisted Fate, like the Galio, like the Talia that he piloted so frequently last split, or he just picks a hyper skill and says, okay, you go on your vacation, I'll stay here and work hard, and we'll see who retires better.
I love your extended metaphors, dude. Yeah, no, but I mean, you could see him pick up an Azir, right? Maybe he gets another shot.
Sure,
I think he will go with another kind of shove and roam champion. But the Milio picked up here. Milio, again, got some nerfs in Chandra supports. Not quite what they used to be, but Lucian Milio will be what Root and Sales are piloting here. So they are indexing into their early game. We'll see what Croc gets put on, as Robo will be on Cassante duty.
For now, though, the Wukong being taken off the table is something that Croc actually hasn't been able to play this split, but it's something that he played a lot of last split. It's been banned almost constantly against Croc. It will be banned against here. And the Twisted Fate we were talking about before. The reason why I even mentioned it was because of Static Shift changes. He shoves so much easier now. And hey, Kabum recognized that, and they're like, yeah, Tinones used to be known as a TF monster. We cannot roll dice against him.
And the only reason he's not known as a TF monster is because that champion has fallen out of the meta. It's not like Tinones. It's just like, oh, I forgot how to like hit my 2 buttons and like my ultimate. And then Nard taken away there from Lonely. Not going to give him the opportunity to make those plays. So 2 mid lane ban or 2 top lane bans here targeting Lonely, and so he will go with the Renekton. 0-2 his champion in CBLOL this split.
And for Poppy being picked.
I love this Poppy pickup.
This is Croc's Poppy. Wait, okay, Jungle Poppy is a thing, but when I think of Jungle Poppy in Brazil, I think of Carioca.
Exactly.
And pretty much only him. Now we've got Croc picking this one. Croc, a much more aggressive jungler, and in the past we used to see things like Predator or Dark Harvest Poppy that was solo queue. It's fallen out of favor, but any chance for you think that we might get to see that, especially in something like Kha'Zix?
Yeah, and I mean, I think. Maybe, right? But I think you can play a Poppy aggressively, as the Loud fans showing up in full force here, throwing up the L, trying to support their team, get them back to 2 and 3. Which, look, if they get a win here, 2 and 3, you are right back in the thick of things. But Kabum, they're putting a lot on Flawless here, and I almost feel bad. I mean, Flawless has been missing this split. He has not lived up to the hype. This is a guy that came in with a good amount of hype into the CBLOL, and now you're giving him Kha'Zix. You're giving him a champion that not only got nerfed this patch, but has been pretty rough in CBLOL this split so far.
Yeah, and Flawless, he played in the LCK and the LPL. Back then, he was an aggressive jungler, right? And then he goes to the LJL and he plays herbivore junglers, utility junglers. And now in the CBLOL, that's largely been what he's playing. Even when he played things like J4, which can gank early, which can be aggressive, largely he was just setting up for his team engages later on. So I'm kind of happy to see him try and go back towards that carry roots that we were talking about, because Kabum needs a carry. Lonely's been trying his best. Crossel's been trying his best. But Crossdale looks best on utility champions, not on hard carry champions. You look at his Jace, you look at Zanny. They're good, but they ain't enough for Kabum to find these wins.
Well, and on this LeBlanc, let's see how much carrying he ends up doing. But like you said, Croc and Robo are kind of the main storyline right here, right now. Because all respect to Kabum, as a fan there showing the Red Canids, not wasting an opportunity to show which team she's supporting. Red Canids, the only team besides INTZ isolated at the top of the table at 4-1. Just how we all predicted at the start of the split, right? Red and INTZ. But as we get loaded onto the Rift here, again, all respect to Kabum, Loud is the story right now. If you are just joining us at CBLOL, if we just put on the internet, on the twitter.com, a picture of the standings, all anyone would see was, what the heck is Loud doing down there? 1-3, hello? Oh, Crastio getting the chains going immediately.
Okay.
Raven, if he gets a couple more autos
Tenos?
down, this might be enough. Redbird over the wall, first blood Raven!
Well, that's what they're doing down there. The fact that they just got picked like that huge from Kabum to just instantly punish. Now they're trying to find the reply, but Loud won't be able to find anything. And I feel like we need to reset expectations a little bit. We're just saying this is the Loud show. Kabum are saying, no, eyes on me. We are going to do this. That's not a mistake from Loud. That's Kabum playing aggressively, and you love to see it.
Well, what do we have here? We've got ourselves a spicy little early game, and Raven, he's gonna come back with 2 longswords and 4 pots. He is perfectly happy to start bullying this lane, but again, in theory, there's no difference between theory and practice. In practice, there is. Now, this is when you've got to make something happen. It's gonna be a little bit tougher due to the fact that they have no summoners.
Fair. And one thing, we talked a lot about Liberty earlier, strong early game, and we talked about Juliera. I feel like we have to compare Raven to Juliera, as they both came up through that academy last split, right? And they just joined CBLOL. They're kind of the new rookies. While Juliera has had pretty decent early games, well, questionable early games at times, but he's aggressive in lane. Raven hasn't been that player. Raven's been playing things like Ezreal, skilling up for the late game, playing kind of safe. So this early lead with the double longswords, if anything, I'm looking at it as sort of an acceleration for the bot lane, but I don't know if Raven can really take over it. We're already seeing Root and Seos push up in this bot lane, as with the Lucian bot lane, you're kind of expected to.
Yeah, if anything for Raven, you're just going to take more hits to the face with, again, the 4 pots, with 2 longswords. You're going to CS a little bit easier, right? But I think you've been given all the tools to survive it. Right now, it's 7-0 in the CS department. That is not great, but you've been given all the tools in the world to carry and take over this game, Raven. You know, and again, this feels kind of make or break for a lot of these players. There's a lot of champions that have a lot of individual agency on this Kabum lineup. Renekton in the early game. Kha'Zix can take over the game to be a monster. Croc is walking on a ward. Might be a 3v3. Gonna be going for it here. Croc, level 3, immediately pulling the trigger onto a level 1 Zyra Rakan. Root going forward, completely out of tower range, just raining damage onto Redbird and Raven. Flawless looking for a potential way in. But at this point, he's just playing bodyguard. Here comes the TP into the tower. And it's Crastiel. He's got himself a longsword on the LeBlanc, of course. But he dissuades something. Croc going right back in there onto Crastiel, gets the clone off, and he will survive it by the skin of his teeth. No, he won't. Root over auto. Another kill for Loud.
And they might keep going here. Redbird is really, really low. Flawless if he gets near a wall, but Croc took a bit too much damage. And Tinones is coming down, but yeah, I think they call this off. Croc is too low.
Wow, it's a party in the bot lane, and everyone was invited. But okay, but if you're Loud, if you're a Loud fan, you love seeing this. Croc is making things happen. You could play an offensive Poppy.
Yeah, and not only is it that, oh, hey, finally Croc's making something happen, but Loud have looked kind of lost in the early game. They were doing their best Pain Gaming cosplay from Split 1. Now, Loud's actually setting up. That was a 3-wave stack by Root and Seos. They played that really nice and slow. They zoned out Raven, Redbird. They were level 1 when that dive started, and that's what's setting up Croc as well. This is proactive Loud. This is the sort of Loud that dominated the playoffs in 4v4. Can you tell I am overexcited by this? I'm probably over-indexing, but this is the cleanest we've seen Loud so far this one.
No, but that's I think captures kind of the mood of the Loud fans, right? You are back-to-back champions. You start out 0-3. You get a nail-biter, teeth-gritted win over Liberty. Robo taken very, very low here. Looks like that will be all she wrote. And then you come up against Kabum. This is a game, again, you've got to win. And so it's that meme that's been going around, that like heart rate monitor of like, we suck, we're terrible. We are so back. This is it. We're terrible again. Like, you are clinging on to everything if you are a Loud fan right now. Damage, big damage onto Raven there. Redbird gonna soak some of it up. Oh, but he's got to get back onto his AD carry. He was completely in the wrong spot, and Raven goes down.
What? That was Raven and Redbird trying to play aggressive. Redbird stepping up, but unfortunately, yeah, this bot lane's over at this point. Look at the CS differential. 2 kills to Root and 28 to 8. The level differential is gonna get worse. And right now for Kabum, you're kind of in panic mode. Ideally with the drop, you want it Flawless to gank cross TL. You want it to get double assassins rolling. But then you had to go down bot. Now, Flawless is behind in tempo. Now your bot lane's lost. If Flawless goes top, bot lane might just get run. And honestly, that actually might be the right call here. You might just say, give up that first turret, focus on Lonely, double down on Crossdale. You need to find a winning lane somewhere.
Yeah, like I said, just chain gang top. And it's unfortunate because this feels like unforced errors from Raven and Redbird, but you still have to give credit to Root and Seos. They are playing their behinds off. And I want to call back to something else that we pointed out kind of, on our unofficial podcast or just in just pre-shows and stuff, is pointing out strength of schedule this early on in the split, right? Let's look at the games that Loud have played. They went 0-3 to start the split off, right? They played Pain, Fluxu, Red. Those are all title contenders. And then they beat Liberty, right? And then they took Kabum, and they've got Vivocade next week. Kabum, I feel so bad for them because right when it seems like Loud have woken up and everybody else was getting what everyone was like, oh, you get free wins on Loud early in the split. Now Loud have woken up and looks like they are hungry for more. They smell blood in the water, and the Bastion goes down. I don't know what Bastion blood tastes like, but Loud making it seem like it tastes mighty good. Here comes Crastiel. He's on cleanup duty. He's got about 100 health combined to shoot through. Croc trying to make something happen. Crastiel all over the map. If he can get one more auto down onto Root, that's a double kill for the veteran mid laner. And now Redbird going right back in, using the last of his mana to get something on Seos. He will blow the flash. Crastiel not done just yet. Eats the charm, but he's still got the upper hand in this 1v2. He's level 6. Could get a repeater spell. No, his ultimate's down. Goes with the thumbs up. Seos and Tinones will disengage.
Loud getting a little too hypey with that dive. It looked like a picture-perfect replay almost of the first time, but they get stuck under the turret. And watch the sort of positioning. They go in, they get the Vistaya and Zaya, as you mentioned, but Redbird is causing so much chaos and actually stops the rest of the engage from coming through. And then after that, they just buy time. You can see how low they are. And from there, Crossdale just gets to clean up. And what's dangerous is Crossdale getting the bounties on these kills, because now he's suddenly online, and we're talking about needing a winning lane. Well, Kha'Zix LeBlanc could be it. In fact, as long as you're not fighting, as long as the skirmishes are 3 or under, that jungle mid duo is incredibly strong.
Yeah, and again, you can shove and roam as Crastiel, and it's going to be more so when the static shiv comes online. But now it's going to be interesting as to, okay, these early skirmishes, where do you go, right? And looking at the XP per level, Lonely and Robo, they are huge. Do they keep going down to the bottom lane? Because you can't assassinate a Cassante Poppy, right? LeBlanc, Kha'Zix, if they're going to play to anywhere, maybe they just keep going down to the bottom lane?
Yeah, I think that's a viable choice. I think you actually just camp Tinones in that mid lane.
Yeah.
Ari is very mobile, which makes her very difficult to gank. But if anybody was going to be able to pop her, you take 2 assassins who also have ability of their own, and you can 100 to 0 the Ari incredibly quickly. And then after you do that, yeah, go down to bot. I think that is an option. But I don't think you should focus on bot first, because Raven and Redbird are still very, very far behind. Really, and I'm still concerned that Root and Seos can still 2v2 just pop them. We saw before, if Redbird ever misses engage, that's 50% of their health.
We'll get their first neutral objective of the game, trading Herald for Dragon. It'll be that Hextech Drake that Flawless is going to pick up early on here. Only down 500 gold. Thanks to Crastiel, like you were saying, getting those shutdowns and sort of artificially slingshotting himself back into the game. He is up big on Tinones right now as far as just raw strength, because he's got himself that static shift, that relatively cheap legendary. But Tinones still decently strong here, right? 2 stacks on the ring. And the corrupting pot as well, but Crastiel laying down the hurt. If he can get the root off, maybe he had a shot there.
Yeah, that static shift shove, man, it's giving Crastiel so much space to just kind of poke out Tinones, especially under the turret. Now, let's talk a little bit about skilling for these compositions, because we touched on what the comps want to do. But in terms of skilling, Loud have to play out the early game. It's the Lucian conundrum, right? Like, you pick the Lucian, they need to play out early. They don't have a skiller in the top or mid lane either. So with the Herald dropping a bot, they're trying to unlock Root and Seos to go gank other lanes as quick as they can. As I say that, Crastiel is roaming down here. Won't be able to stop the Herald, but are they even going to be able to stop? No, they can't even stop that. I was thinking like Raven and Redbird might just get dove here if Loud wanted to. For Kabum, they've got skilling, right? Renekton doesn't skill amazing, but he's not terrible. LeBlanc with the static shift is not bad. And Raven will become a teamfight monster later on.
Ooh, Lonely has to pop the Dominus here. Robo going all out. He's looking to re-engage here. The double TP. Kanones gives Loud the numbers advantage for now. Can't take down Lonely through the ultimate. That mid-game Renekton is too thick. Rustriel almost gets the root off again. Just a little too late, but he does bail out Lonely for what could have been a disaster.
Maybe we gotta rethink a little bit for maybe you can gank the Cassante and the Poppy, because Crossdale's doing a lot of damage, and even with the TPs, even with Tinon first move, they are going to be forced out. And Crossdale can become that split push threat that we kind of mentioned last week, but didn't get to see.
Crossdale just playing with his food right now, and with the AD, he's actually taking a little bit out of that tower. He's just gonna get himself some plates here with a couple minutes to go. Raven got himself the Kraken Slayer, so does Root. So, all things considered, he's not that far behind in terms of just effective power right now. I don't know, man. If you would have told me that at this point, 30 CS difference, Root is up like 2 components, I'd have been like, okay, you know what? That could have gone worse.
Yeah, it could, but it's still pretty dark. We're still seeing Raven and Redbird get pushed in. Not to do with the items, more just the champions, right? Lucian is really strong in the early game. And we mentioned before with Xayah Rakan, a lot of the laning comes down to the Rakan more than the Xayah. Are you able to knock people up? Are you able to find the engages and CC them? And props to Root. He's been doing an amazing job, especially with the speed ups that CS has been giving him, dodging all of that. And that's what's making this kind of rough. We are seeing now the rotate out from that mid lane, and Lonely has to be aware. He's
I think he has no idea. Oh, okay.
He backed up at the perfect timing, and the ward dropped just in time.
That could have been very ugly. But now, Kabum, what are they doing in response here? Redbird roaming up. The 1v1 in the mid lane. Flawless is being summoned up to the top lane, and meanwhile, Crastiel is just split pushing. They're getting him a lot of solo turret play gold.
Yeah, that's the answer to AD carry, right? If Root's getting fed, we'll build an assassin. We'll get somebody who can one-shot him. The problem is, Crossdale is one person trying to take a turret. It's a lot slower than what Louder brings to the table, and now Kabum, they're looking for this.
Redbird gets the big knock-up. They do blow the heal from Seos there. Tinon's looking for something, will not find it. Flawless has to exit the fight.
And topside just goes right back to where it was, because the reinforcements got cut off by Tinons, and Lonely and Redbird have to be careful. Lonely popping the ult. Don't make no mistake, that's not an offensive ult. They're not looking for kills. That's only just trying to wave clear and make sure that he doesn't die while he's clearing out those minions.
Yeah, and just to ward off any sort of shenanigans, right? I mean, at level 9 right now, your Dominus is getting, like, maximum value. If you had a Mythic item, that's your perfect Renekton spike. But we really haven't seen the Renekton be super effective in CBLOL, kind of how you want him to, that early game monster who can take his leads and move them elsewhere. And I think some of that credit goes to Robo, right? Veteran top laner, being able to absorb that pressure on this Cassante. So far, hasn't really panned out, but look, they're keeping Loud at bay right now. This is a 1,000 gold deficit. This is far from insurmountable, and Kabum, they've gotten themselves a dragon, right? They're only down 1 tower, and Crastiel has the most gold in the game, so go figure.
You know, for when you're talking about Renekton and taking over the early game against Robo, all I could hear in my head was that meme, like, don't preach to me that dark tech. I was there when it was written. Robo was the guy who popularized Renekton, and he's the guy who takes over in the early game. So even if he isn't having the best split of his life necessarily, you know what? He knows exactly how Renekton's going to function, and worst comes to worst, he just doesn't lane against Renekton. Robo's actually had to deal with Crossdale on the bot side, while Root was pushing up there.
Lane swaps have been interesting here, and the guy to keep an eye on, obviously, is Crastiel, right? It's sort of like Wiser earlier in the day. Who's got the Static Shiv, who's got the Teleport as well to be able to join the fights. And like you said, Crastiel, he's got his eyes on Root and Tinons, right? But I think Root especially right now. Croc going to start up the second dragon of the game. Tinon's looking for a pick. He might have found something, but Redbird might have found him. Nope. Tinon's able to slide just out of range of the W.
And that gives Loud access into that mid lane. Raven will have to take the long way back to the turret. Dragon being picked up by Loud. But throughout all of this, the one place the camera isn't looking is Crossdale on the top side. And Crossdale is still getting farmed for a goal.
Oh, baby. Culling goes out onto Redbird. And Raven, they are taken out of the lane for now. Look at that shove that Crastiel can put down. Level 11, just running all over the map. Tinon just hit level 10. He was up 2 levels on this opposing mid laner.
Yeah, Crossdale has just been having side lane alone time with the minions throughout this entire game. And Don't get me wrong, Crastiel's a cute guy. I wouldn't mind as a minion on the Rift, but thankfully I'm in the casting this. Robo has flash.
Yeah, Flawless goes in, Lonely. I think is going to grab this one. They get the pick onto Robo. And it's Renekton coming up with his first kill of the game. Tino's able to shove that whole wave right back.
If somebody can fact check this, I believe Robo has given first blood in almost every single game. There's only 2 games he hasn't given first blood, and this would be the second one. But still, he does end up going down before, or just after 15 minutes. Never mind. New record for Robo this play. Good job, man. But it is kind of rough, and I actually don't really blame Robo for this. A lot of this is because of the extended lanes created by Crastiel in the side lanes. Because he's been able to push this out, Robo doesn't have a good place to farm, and they sacrificed Robo to get Root ahead. So now the question is, what can Root do with it? He's been stuck in this mid lane for the last couple of minutes where Kabum's doing a good job making sure that they're buying enough time, they're clearing the waves.
Crastiel trading with Tino's there very, very evenly. I wonder how much gold Crastiel actually has. He's been sitting on this combination of items for a while. Mid lane tier 1 going down, allowed to retake the lead in that department. Gold dead even though.
Well, and that's the question we're having about Root, right? Can he make good on the gold? Now he has. Things are even, but 4x4 skirmishes are coming up soon enough. I mean, Dragon 1 apiece so far in 3 minutes time with the outer turrets being taken out, all of them except for the mid lane of Loud. The map is less going to be about the split pushing and more about the team fighting soon. Crastiel will continue split pushing till Kingdom Come, but Loud then needs to start looking for these team fights, especially when we talked about their lack of skill into the late game. And that's when Root needs to pop off, needs to start finding kills as well to take these inner turrets.
Let's see how they want to take that route. No pun intended. But now, yeah, 1 dragon apiece. Yeah, this is and we haven't had any of these team fights just yet. But Root has his second item fully online. Got the Navori quick blades as well. So if there's a team fight that they want to take, it's going to be right now. Loud. They take Root and Seos down to the bottom lane. That's where they're going to try to crack this one open. Redbird and Flawless looking for an angle. Lonely facing them straight up. Crastiel got his Night Harvester. They're able to eliminate the Herald before they could do anything else. So after all that, doesn't look like we're going to get anything, RMC.
Yeah, I think Loud was just running out of time in that Herald. It was a good choice of turrets, but yeah, Kabum's wave clear is good. And now Crastiel on the flank is the most terrifying thing. I'm watching and waiting for Crastiel to step up a little bit more. Tino's, does he know?
Ooh, Tino's going to get spotted out here. Goes to the Everfrost down. Good ult there from Croc, able to take him out of the fight. And it's just Lonely, and he gets absolutely chunked down and out. Redbird and Raven were taken out of the fight, and Root was just free-firing.
Okay, huge from Croc. That Keeper's Verdict, I'd almost forgotten about the ability to just say, yeet people out of there and say, nope, that's not your turret anymore. We get a numbers advantage. I was so busy watching Crastiel trying to step up, and I'm so happy that Croc is looking proactive. Dude, we mentioned, those early ganks from Croc, but again, here, it's Croc's pulling the trigger saying, we want the turret, we will take it. I just think back to his interview last week. He won, but he didn't look happy. And right now, I'm hoping that Croc is being happy.
He's been much better. Even don't let that CS differential sway you too much. He's had a really strong early game. Again, Poppy isn't a champion you traditionally think of as being aggressive, making plays happen early. But he has been, since he joined this roster, since he was on Netshoes Miners, the engine that makes the team go. Since he was on Renska, that's good for him. Yeah, even further back. No, you're right. When he and Yuri were running the mid 2v2 with Kiari, Trigo, and Damage. What a roster! What a roster! It's like that's a Mad Lib. That's a CBLOL Mad Lib. You just take different players and fill them in. All right, Flawless and Lonely up on the top side. Yeah, we haven't seen Flawless have a gigantic impact kind of in this mid game. He's just been farming up. And fair enough, I think, let's see, he's going to get a nice little reset here, I'm hoping. He's going to get himself the plated steel caps. Yeah, Root still the main source of damage that he is worried about because he's got to get back there and assassinate that AD carry. Starting up that second dragon, it's Croc, it's the rest of Loud, and they inch forward yet again, little by little.
Kabum not even worried about this, not even looking to contest this one yet. And they're a little bit slow on the rotate as well. We're talking about Flawless's reset. By the time he had reset, Dragon was completely out of control. Now, Baron, they can't afford to give that one up. So Kabum's vision is strong on that top side, but they've kind of not really set up vision appropriately for the plays they're looking to make necessarily, or are they just not around the usual objectives? So I'd love to see them actually set up a bit more on this top side, look for that pick, and hey, if you can pick one person, you can bait the Baron. I don't think Kabum is actually safe to take the Baron.
No.
But if you make Loud think that you're doing it, and they walk in, especially after they lose a member of your team, you can get another pick. And with 2 kills, then Kabum is safe to go ahead.
Yeah, and that mid jungle you can just one tap somebody, right? That's what we talked about. And Lonely, he's got decent survivability as well. He's still not over the hill into the Renekton target dummy territory just yet. All that vision has been taken away here. Croc popping the W. Steadfast presence. Yeah, I mean, this is I think something that was rightly criticized was like the amount of dashes on this team that were picked after. Well, I guess it was just the one that was picked after the Poppy, but he gets so much value out of that W.
Ooh, it's Loud going to be the one to start this one up, and they've actually got enough tanks to be able to soak this for a while, and now Kabum's in trouble. They didn't set the vision. TP from Lonely being burnt, and Loud, this is just step 1 of the Baron dance, and it looks clean from them.
Yeah, I thought maybe they could have gotten a bait or something out. They did get the TP from Lonely, but it's like you were saying, RMC, you wanted to see Kabum get those lines of vision down. They weren't able to. Crastiel over the wall. Gonna W right back to safety. Robo moves forward here, and Redbird providing some shielding, almost eats the charm. Yeah, they're just jockeying, dancing around this Baron, and there's no other objective to trade for. The Dragon's not gonna be up for another 3 minutes. This is everything right now, except for, I mean, it's just Crastiel kind of pushing that top lane up, and everybody else kind of doing their thing. You cannot fight without Crastiel. Without Crastiel, he is going to be the clock, the thing that makes the hand of this clock turn. Now we're back to the Baron dance. Maybe we get a different outcome. Oh boy.
Loud is sat on a ward, and it kind of doesn't even matter because the job right now is just to buy space and time. And look at Robo, he's so tanky.
Yeah, well, and then with a more front-to-back composition, you could do that, right? You could just put Robo or Croc up there, right? I mean, Croc's got to stay inside the pit because he's got to smite the dang thing. But Robo's up there, and he can just set stuff up for Tinones to land a charm, Everfrost, blow someone up. Crastiel laying with his food on the other side. They go in onto Robo, a lot of damage, and Robo goes down. The follow-up wasn't there. Crastiel over the wall, and they're going to go over to Loud. But 2 kills to Kabum. They've got a numbers advantage. Can they chase down Tinones? Feathers going out. Feathers Storm not going to land. Good charm there by Tinones, playing right on the edge of that Zio.
2 for Baron for Redbird. Just trying to delay some backs, and I think Cloud will be okay with that, willing to trade 2 members, but what's scary is Crastiel one-shot Root in that backline, and you can tell now if Crastiel ever finds his way into the backline, once Root dies, Loud's team fight is kind of over, so it's a bit of a wake-up call from Loud. Not a detrimental one, not a huge problem just yet, but they definitely need to track Crastiel throughout all these fights. Flawless probably can't do the same thing. It's all on this LeBlanc.
Yeah, well, and I mean, if nothing else, like, yeah, you gotta track Crastiel and keep one of your frontliners alive. Because Robo was deleted before that fight started. Croc was in a different spot because he was in the Baron pit, and it was just the 3 squishy members just getting lit up like that.
Yeah, and that won't happen on these pushes. At that point, Croc will be somewhere near Root. You know, Seos will be nearby, hopefully, as well. And Robo doesn't have to be, you know, like its entire screen away from the rest of the team out in Africa trying to zone everybody else out. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Robo missed position. Like, that was what he had to do to buy space. And he won't have to do that in a lane when they're pushing.
So it is just Croc, Seos, and Tinones that have
Robo.
Oh boy. Robo, he might get picked off here again. Popping the Shirelli as Redbird saw the angle. He wanted to go forward. Flawless. Looking for a jump forward. Here comes the TP.
Oh, wow.
Tinones pops the shield on Flawless. Gets the invisibility. He's not going to take any chances. Flashing over immediately. Going to take the blast cone. He wanted no part of that. Blew absolutely everything to get the heck out of dodge. But now Lonely isolated here. He goes over the wall thanks to Robo. Delivers him into the jaws of death.
My man Lonely, it's in your name. You want to be alone. It said you joined the party. Well, I guess still alone. The literal 5 gets absolutely melted. And all of that, once again, picked off by Croc. The keeper's verdict to just yeet everybody else out, isolate Flawless, and then re-engage, showing that Flawless can't join the rest of his team for a good 10 seconds. Tinone's on a ward. They're falling back on this dragon, but Kabum want to contest.
They want to contest. What can they do? Down a member for another 10 seconds after the duration of this fight. Health bars are low. Root goes out and dumps a ton of damage into Redbird. He had Grassy off the turntable and tail and run. Robo gets himself another kill. Redbird is down, grounded, and destroyed. Is Flawless. And now Robo giving chase. Raven doing everything he can, but I promise you it will not be enough. Double kill for Root. Loud have woken up.
Where did this come from, 4y4? Up to now, Kabum was doing a pretty decent job of making sure they never got caught, and seemingly out of nowhere, Root, the AD carry, just steps up. Forget Croc, forget Robo. I don't need a front line. I just need Seos in my back pocket. Baron has expired, but it doesn't matter when no one on Kabum is up to properly defend this. Inhibitor goes down, and Loud are now firmly in the driver's seat. We get a replay of how this kicks off, and okay, we didn't see Root dashing forward, but really that's what kicks it off. And the moment that happens, Kabum just needs to disengage. They kind of got baited out a little bit, and because they stayed there, that's when everything kind of went wrong for them. Because they looked for the engage, they dropped multiple members.
It's a shame because, like you said, there was a lot to like about what Kabum was doing, right? They were doing a good job of playing the game safe. You saw in a skirmish around the Baron, okay, Crastiel can in fact one-tap Root. Right, and there's not a lot of other damage in this composition. Tinone's going with the Everfrost, right? He doesn't have the flat pin in his boots either, right? All he has is really the Shadow Flame and the ring. That's it. And so you knew Kabum's game plan, and they were executing it all right. But it looks like just these little picks that Loud, a very veteran team, are going to make you pay for. And shout out to Croc, right? He's been using the Poppy ult very, very well. Like you said, I kind of forgot about the Keeper's Verdict as well. Just how effective it can be to start fights, right? With that numbers advantage, and then you just go forward. But they haven't really given Raven an opportunity to even play. I'm not really putting this on him. It's just, like you said, lonely and Flawless, get caught out, and then you can't do anything.
Yeah, and for Kabum, the thing is, they don't need to really accelerate the pace of game. Like, take it slow, right? Raven will skill up on this Xayah. You're playing into Root's power slide right now. He's completed 3 items, and as a Lucian, that's about as strong as you're going to be all game. I mean, you'll pick up a Lord Doms later, so you can cut through people, but right now, this is when you do a lot of damage, and Kabum doesn't have the tanks to deal with said damage. So Kabum, at this point, it's all just about slowing down the game. Don't play into Loud. Let Loud be the ones to try and engage into you, because they're the ones in the time.
Croc going into 2 people right now, just kind of trying to be a black hole and just suck a lot of attention away from the push up on the top side. And you see how much freaking damage Root does on the tower. He just lays into it. Crastiel looking for a pick onto somebody, looking like Tinone's. He and Flawless might have an angle here, but Tinone's throws out the charm first in the CC. He's able to get out, and Flawless just has to sit there and watch his health disappear.
Yeah, the assassins, they're looking for the flanks, Flawless and Crastiel. But unfortunately, Tinone's isn't really an assassin. Like, you're not trying to fight fire with fire. Tinone's just needs to throw out the charm and buy time. You can see the rest of the team instantly collapse down as well. So there was never any risk of Tinone's actually dying. Crastiel going onto Croc does absolutely nothing. Can't even cut through the shield.
Okay, goes Robo. Nice try, Crastiel. Yeah, and Tinone's, I mean, this is a champion that he has been playing for a long, long time. He first made his name at 17 on this Ahri, playing against Alliance on Kabum when he was on that roster back in 2014, almost a decade ago. Tinone's, do not mess with him.
Root doesn't know
on this champion. Oh boy, fight breaking out on all sides. Root taken by surprise, like you said there, RMC. The culling goes out. He's taken away from this fight, but now he's on a Crastiel. He and Tinone's are giving chase. Crastiel is down. That might be curtains. Robo going right into the AD carry, takes Redbird out of the fight. Robo is on a killing spree, and they just slaughter them on all fronts. Loud, looking like the team that was promised, and in the late game, they break it open.
I need a replay for it. I am so lost what happened there. Flawless hopping out as well. It looked so good for Kabum. Crastiel managed to sneak into the bush, and Root walked towards him. It should have been cut and dried. Once Root dies, game over. Instead, somehow they Loud only lose one person, and it's Robo, who's just building tank, buying time, and now Loud knocking on the doors of the base 10 seconds before Raven and Redbird come back up. Flawless, please don't die here. It'd be game over.
I think it's game over regardless. I think very impressive by Loud. This game was in the balance until it just aggressively was not. 1 tower, 2 tower, red tower, blue tower. Loud is out the I's across the T's, and they will walk away with back-to-back victories. Hang on, will they here? Oh, baby,
They're
Lonely.
taking their time.
Yeah, Lonely's doing his best. They're padding their stats, making up for some ugly numbers in the first 3 games. They're trying to get everything here. Lonely does get the kill there onto Croc. Man, testing my eyesight with that in the bottom left. Poor observers. There we go. There's the ace. And once they get up from their chairs, that is curtains. Kabum dropped